We're talking up the Gators with Jackie Franchuli. You can join her by getting yourself a subscription to Rivals with Gators Territory to track Florida football. And of course, as Jackie's alluding to, with Dan Mullen's efforts on the recruiting trail, at this time last year, we were sitting here wondering, many of us, not necessarily in the know to Jackie's extent in regards to football recruiting, what is this early signing day going to mean when it finally rolls around? How many commits are going to come into the fold and how many are going to wait until February? And it has established in 1 year itself as the signing day, with the most of the estimates I heard were something in the 80% range of the signings coming during late December. As we look at the Gators, Jackie, we've got 18 hard commits. It's a top 15 to 20 class, according to your site, Rivals. Your thoughts initially about the class and who really stands out to you?
Yeah, I think, the staff has done a good job to, kind of isolate the players that fit what they're missing. Florida obviously looked at their offensive linemen this year. They really got to see what issues they have depth-wise in that position, and you can see through the commitment list that they really tried to reinforce that position. I think that's one thing that having 1 year underneath your belt you get to do, and that's why this recruiting class is very pivotal for Mullen, because this is the first time he's looking at his roster after a season played and after going through spring and all that and seeing what he really has done, and the staff has done a good job with that. But what they've really done a good job is getting kids on campus the last few weeks right before early signing period. I think when you look at the class currently, you have to look at, obviously, Tyron Hopper. He's their highly recruited linebacker. I think he was a huge get for them early on at a position of need. So I think because they, once David Reese got injured earlier on this season, we realized that, they're still young in that position, but they need depth. So that's when, a guy like Tyron Hopper can come in and help. And then when you look at the rest of the guys on there, you've got Gillian Humphreys, a very talented defensive lineman. He was a very good get out of Georgia. Florida tried to kind of extend their footprint a little bit. Instead of just thinking, I'm just going to stick in state, they realized, all right, Gainesville is 5 hours away from Atlanta. They should be in our zone as well. So they recruited Georgia, and that's where they get Hopper and Humphreys, and really helping to further the recruiting lines there. I think most people are more concerned about those guys that are signing on early signing day, like Chrissteele, the 5-star defensive back out of California, and 4-star tight end Keon Zipper and his teammate 4-star defensive end Lloyd Summerall, both guys from Lakeland. They both took their official visit last weekend over Florida. There's been a lot of rumors on social media about them going to Miami over Florida, and they're trolling Florida. You know how social media rumors get started. So I think Florida is in a good position with both of those, and in a very good position with Chrissteele. And I think those are the ones that people are going to be eagerly awaiting their decision on early signing day. With Chrissteele, that actually they have to wait a little bit longer. He will be signing on early signing day period, but he will only be announcing it in January during the All-Star game. But I think Florida should be receiving good news when he does officially announce. I think Florida is the leader. That has changed in the last few days. Right now, I would be shocked if it's not Florida. He would choose Florida over USC in South Carolina and Oregon. He was committed to the Trojans for a little bit, but then decommitted after some coaching changes there and then unsuccessful season on the field. So I think those are the names that you need to focus on in the next few weeks for Florida. And you know what? Mullen has a really good shot of making it to a top 10 class, maybe 11 or 12. But yeah, especially with Chrissteele in play, and they're in it with lineman Dante Lucas, who's committed to Florida State, a 4-star from IMG. So this is a good class a good transition class. So I think Mullen and them have done a good job getting some big names on campus. And you know what? They might pull some guys out. Now, some of them they have to wait till National Signing Day in February, like legacy recruit Kyrie Elam, the 4-star corner out of South Florida. But there's going to be a number that I feel like maybe 2 or 3 that will announce on early signing day or will announce during the January All-Star game. So there going to be some new additions in the next few weeks.
And certainly the recruiting rankings tell a huge story. They are relevant, especially in mass. the recruiting rankings. You can line them up right next to the AP Final Top 25 poll and go right down the line, and they're very accurate in assessing talent that's going to project to the next level. However, of course, when you mention possibly if some of those guys on the fence come Florida's way, that they get to the top 10 to 15 range, there are some crazy fans out there, as you well know, Jackie, that are going to make that direct comparison to Georgia. And Georgia may come out of this thing with the number 1, 2, or 3 class, and most likely will, and make that direct comparison to think, okay, we're losing more ground, even though a number 12 class can end up being like a number 4 class, and a number 3 class can be a number 8 class when it's all said and done in regards to on the field play and productivity. So is the Florida fan base going to be happy with, the people in the know, it sounds like, are going to be really thrilled with the talent there, but maybe on the periphery, the bulk of the fan base looking directly at what's going on in Athens and making that comparison?
I think the fan base is at this point where, okay, if they get 5-star Chrissteele, I think the fan base will be appeased. I think just by adding that 5-star, getting a California kid out of California and bringing him to Florida, I think the Florida fan base would be extremely happy. But regardless of that, I think what the Florida fan base saw from this year, and something that's been repeated over and over again, is that Dan Mullen has taken the group that he has right now, and they played well beyond their means. So the fan base is kind of saying, we trust the staff to get the kids that they need, no matter what the perception is as far as recruiting rankings or whatnot. They have, the coaches often say that they have their own rankings within the coaching staff. So I think the fan base is still in the honeymoon period with Dan Mullen staff. It says they trust them. So if they think this kid might be, a 3-star with the Rivals or a 3-star in the composite 24/7, but they're still confident that 3-star would fit perfectly in Dan Mullen's system. So I think right now, especially this is the first of real class for Mullen and his staff. I think even if Georgia, is ahead of them, it's not going to be a disastrous run for them. I think Florida fans see themselves as a team that showed progress this year. They beat, LSU, they beat Mississippi State on the road. Honestly, up until the second half, they gave Georgia a pretty close game. So I think for them, they just see that, okay, they've got some talent. They've got some talent coming in, and Mullen can do some things with the talent that he's getting. So Florida fans are going to be happy. Now, if they completely bomb and they don't get any of the guys I mentioned, talk back to me, and then maybe they're going to, maybe we have to talk a few people off ledges. But I think right now, with all the stuff that's going on, with all the guys that they're projected to get or are favorites for, or even for the February signing day, they're in it with a couple of guys like Mark Anthony Richards, a very talented athlete from South Florida. He's connected for Miami since his older brother Ahmad Richards played for the Hurricanes. But Florida is doing very well with him. Although Miami is still probably the favorite, Florida is doing really well with him by selling that he could be the Percy Harvin, of the future for Florida. Kind of telling him that he could be the Kadarius Toney as well with a little. So there are certainly guys that they could add to this class, and then things definitely will look bright for Florida, even if they fall behind Georgia in the recruiting ranking.
Yeah, as you mentioned, 9-3 is definitely on the bright side and positive side of that floor ceiling estimate that most people had for Florida football as maybe being 10-2 and 6-6, 9-3, something in that range being the good side of what possibly could have happened in 2018. And Dan Mullen passed most of the tests in regards to that first initial inaugural season here at Gainesville, talking Florida football with Jackie Franchuli. You can catch her on Rivals at Gators territory. Jackie, we appreciate you stopping by, setting things up for us, and maybe we can flag it down one more time before Florida heads out to play Michigan.
Yeah, sure. I'll gladly come back. Maybe we'll talk about all the wins they had on Florida. I know my board would appreciate talking about wins rather than the losses next Wednesday.
Absolutely. There we go. Thank you so much, Jackie.
Thanks, Mark.